I'm going to go through a couple of application of division questions with you. And the first is something that you would see once every 4 years, obviously in the Olympics. So in 2012, the winner of the 400-meter swim, I don't know if it's called a dash. I was in track, but not a swimmer. But Yang Sun was the winner. He is from China. And so we want to be able to see what his speed was compared to others that did obviously the same event. And so to compare, often we take things down to a unit rate, which means per 1 second. So in this case, we want to find meters per second that Yang Sun was able to swim. So in order to know which number goes on the inside, sometimes it's helpful to write a fraction. So meters would be on top because it's meters per second, and seconds would be on the bottom, which of course means when I'm dividing that the 400 goes on the inside and 2257 goes on the outside. And of course I would have to move that decimal 1 place. The decimal is at the end of 400, so I would move that 1 place, add a 0, and then bring that straight up. Now I've got thousandth of a second, so this would be tenths, hundredths, thousandths. Because I'm rounding, we're going to have to go 1 extra place. So we've got a lot of work ahead of us here. 2,257 does go into 4,000 one time. It doesn't go in twice because I know if I doubled that, it would be greater than 4,000. So I'm going to subtract that value and do a lot of borrowing. So that gives me 10 minus 7, which is 3, 9 minus 5, 9 minus 2, and 3 minus 2. I'll then bring down the next number. Now, I'm dealing with some really large numbers here, very large numbers. So the best idea here is to sort of estimate and make a guess and then see if it works. So if I look at 2,257, let's say that's about 2,000. And if I look at 17,430, I'd say, well, that's about 17,000. So how many times would 2,000 go into 17,000 evenly? It would go in 8 times, right? Because 2 times 8 is 16, and that's less than that. So let's take 2,257 times 8 and see what we get. And if it's too large, then we'll go with 7. If it's too small, we'll go with 9. 8 times 7 is 56. 8 times 5 is 40, plus that 5. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 4 is 20. 8 times 2 is 16, plus 2 is 18, and I see that I've gone too far. And so I'm going to multiply it by 17, which I know that I'm sorry, by 7, not 17. So the 7 is going to be the value up here. But I don't know what that number is. And so instead of multiplying it by 7, which I could certainly do, I'm just going to go ahead and subtract 2,257 from this, because that would be the same thing, right? So you can multiply by 7, or I can just take 2,257 away, which is the way I'm going to choose to do it. And that is going to give me 14 minus 5 is 9, 9 minus 2 is 7, 7 minus 2 is 5. So I get 15,799. 15,799. So this is times 7 here, and of course this was times 8. So now I'm going to subtract. Again, a lot of borrowing. 10 minus 9 is 1. 2 minus 9 doesn't work. So borrow again. 12 minus 9 is 3. 3 minus 7 doesn't work, so I borrow again. 13 minus 7 is 6. 6 minus 5 is 1. And now I've got 1,631. I'm going to bring down my next 0. And it looks like I'm just going to be using that 7 again, because take a look at how close those two values are. So I'm going to use 7 again, which was 15,799. And that's my weird 0. And now I have to subtract again. So I'm going to borrow. 10 minus 9 is 1. I can't take 9 away from nothing. My gosh, my phone's going crazy. Sorry. So now I'm borrowing. 10 minus 9 is 1. 2, I can't take 7 away from that. And now I get 12 minus 7, which is 5. So I get 511. Bring down that next 0. And it looks like it's probably going to be 2 times, because if I doubled that, that's about 4,500-ish. So I'm going to try the 2. Again, off to the side. 2257 times 2. We'll just double check to make sure it's going to work. That's 10 plus 1 is 11. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1 is 5. 2 times 2 is 4. So that's the value that I'm subtracting. And I'm quickly running out of space, but that's okay. 10 minus 4 is 6. Have to borrow again. 10 minus 1 is 9. 50 minus 45 is 5. I'll bring down that last 0, so 596, bringing down this last 0 over here. And it looks like it's going to be a 2 again, because I would be subtracting 4,514. And honestly, I don't even care what the difference is, because I know the difference is less than this. So this is my answer, but now I need to round it to the nearest thousandth of a second. So tenths, hundredths, thousandths, looking to the right, I wouldn't have to round up the 2. So my answer would be 1.772 meters per second. So we're going to label, and we didn't have to round up because 2 is less than 5. This question, I promise, is much easier, and this is a situation that really happens all of the time, because you're out to dinner with people, you need to split up the check. Most of the time people round, but because this is a math class and we're trying to be a little bit precise, we need to find out exactly, if we split this exactly evenly 5 ways, because I'm out to dinner with 4 other people, so there's 5 people total, what is my portion? So go ahead and find that answer and then press play to see how you did. In this case, I'm going to divide 142.75 again by 5 rather than 4, because it's me and 4 other people. I'm going to bring the decimal straight up and now just divide. 5 doesn't go into 1, but goes into 14 twice. 5 times 2 is 10. Subtract for a difference of 4, bring down the 2. 5 goes into 42 8 times. 5 times 8 is 40. Subtract to get 2, bring down the 7. 5 goes into 27 5 times. 5 times 5 is 25. Subtract to get 2, bring down the 5. 5 goes into 25 5 times, and that gives me nothing left over. So how much is my portion? My portion is $28.55.